Hi everyone, it's me Tia, the unorthodox counselor, getting at you guys from Reinhardt Counseling. So I did a video the other day on conversations with teens, but today I just want to go just a tad bit more in depth on some ways to make those conversations more comfortable for the both of you, for you and your child. So when we have those conversations with our kids, the first thing is as a parent or even as just an adult period, is we want to kind of have a plan. We want to make sure that we know exactly what subject we want to have with our child. We also want to be able to focus on the key elements for the conversation. So having a plan is number one. Number two is gathering your thoughts, just like getting it all together, because your mind be on 1,000, you got 100 million thoughts, you can't really think, you just know you want to give them everything and anything, but we don't want to beat them up and overwhelm them, so we have to give them pieces, and we have to explain it in a way that they can understand. We have to meet them at their level of understanding. So, when you're thinking about those things, you want to be calm, and you also want to be patient with your child. They may not come off right away and tell you certain information. So, just being calm and being patient is very important. Um, you also want to set a limit on distractions. You want to make sure that it's just you and your child. It's nice and private. The atmosphere and the vibe is comfy, and it's very inviting. You want your energy to be displayed as that to your child, because when we have to have conversations with our children about things, they're already scared naturally. They're like, oh my god, no, I don't want to talk about that. But we want to make it comfortable. So we want to ask open-ended questions. What's going on? What's your thoughts about sex, or what's your thoughts about drugs? What's your thoughts about whatever it is that you feel like you need to talk to your child about. You want to show interest, you want to show concern, that you really care about their thoughts and their feelings. You do not want to blame and accuse them of things, okay? You don't want to blame, accuse, compare. You don't want to do any of those things, because all that's going to do is push your child away from you, and that's not what you want to do, because you want to bring your child closer to you. You want to be able to build healthy relationships with your child or whoever it is that you're caring for. So, thinking about how, you want to be able to be encouraging, you want to help them develop problem solving skills. So, like, for example, instead of saying, what you did, what you think was going to happen, you wasn't even thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get. Instead of saying that, you could say, you know what? So now that happened, what do you think you would do differently? Okay. What do you think is a better way to handle the situation? Make sure as a parent that you controlling your thoughts and your actions. Try your best to control your emotions, your demeanor. Try to just hold it together so that your child can give you this information, because this information could be very life-saving, because who knows what's going to come out of our kids' mouth. Because we always think that we don't give children enough credit for their level of intelligence, but these children are very, very inquisitive. They're very watchful, observant, and they actually know a lot more than we give them credit for. So that's very important, to just not just think, oh, you're a child, you don't know nothing, because they actually know a lot. We want to be able to assess and decide, if you are too upset at that moment with the information that they gave you. You know what I'm saying? They just gave you some information, and now you got to sit with that. You just listened to that, you just heard it, so now you have to process that information. So taking a minute to just step back if you need to, because it was too overwhelming at that moment for a response, it's okay, because we don't ever want to just not have any filter and just be saying any old thing. we want to be able to give our child concrete information and feedback, okay? And by doing that, we're letting them know that they have been heard, okay? We want to listen and observe. We want to reduce emotions, because sometimes talking to children bring up a lot of emotions and feelings, and that can interfere with your critical thinking on the situation that in the conversation that you're having with your child. Um, you know, Things not to do is definitely you don't want to criticize your child. You don't want to be sarcastic and negative about their ability to be successful or make good decisions, because as humans we're going to make bad decisions at times. We could have made a better decision, but it's part of the growing process, because our children as well as ourselves all have our own journey. You don't want to compare your child with other friends' children, or other siblings, or their brothers and sisters or cousins. You don't want to take over your child's progress as being slow, like, oh, you just can't seem to get it. No, everybody has their own journey, and it will come when it comes. That's why it's very important to be calm and patient when you're going through this stuff and you're dealing with kids and having conversations. And a lot of times we think they're not listening, but they really are. Being able to um, be encouraging, you know what I'm saying? Asking them, to share their opinions and feelings on, you as a parent, what they feel and think about school, their teachers, their community, their family, their father, their grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, whoever, whatever. Okay? You want to be able to listen to what they are saying. Listen, not hear them, because that's like you heard a noise. No, listen and process that information. Spending time with your child is critical to being able to build these relationships. Like, I get it, especially, this ain't like back in the day when you had Big Mama, what I'm saying, at home taking care of the kids, and you had Big Pop out there working and getting all the money, and all Big Mama had to do was stay home, raise the kids, and be able to just take care of the kids and get everything situated, and all Big Papa had to do was bring the money home. It's not like that. This is a whole new world era right now. Parents, there's a lot of single parents. There's a lot of parents who are really raising their child as well as working full time, going to school full time, still having to pay all the bills, and still try to raise the child and do the best that they can as a parent. And sometimes you're working massive overtime, to cover the bills and the expenses, and you don't really get to spend time with your child. And that becomes worrisome, because if you ain't raising your child, then who else is? And we don't want the streets raising them, or the wrong people raising them. And this is why, once again, it goes back to, it takes a village. So having good people in your circle to be able to be there for you while you raising your child, for when you're absent, that that they're still giving them good knowledge and wisdom, in the absence of you, while you're working or you're doing whatever it is that you got to do. Kids are just so intriguing. They're very mind-blowing to me. I always have to remember when I was a kid, or when I was a teen, to really remind myself of and putting myself back in their shoes. So when they're explaining certain things to me, whether it's my client or my child, I have to really be mindful. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it's hard, because you be like, I'm gonna need you to get it together. But guess what? We did get it together, but we got it together later on. We didn't automatically get it right then and there, just like when we're telling them to get it together. So being able to take a step back and be able to have those conversations by having that active listening, having that conversation starter, making sure the atmosphere and the vibe is good, making sure that you're not being critical and judgmental. You're not shaming them. A lot of things that, sometimes our kids might tell us something that, is not in our morals and principles of how, we may have been raised as a parents, and now our child is telling us this information, and we're just like, oh my God, not in this family. But we need to be able to listen to what they're saying, because when children do not have a close relationship with their parents, they will have attachment disorders issues. They could have codependency disorder issues. They could end up having they can end up having antisocial behavior issues, and going everywhere else but to you because they don't feel safe because of your response is a very scary thought process for me as a parent. So I could imagine the other parents out there of their child not wanting to tell them any information but will go to everybody else under the sun. So we want to be able to also be encouraging. Yes, they make bad decisions sometimes. We all have done so. We want to be encouraging to help them solve problems, and and finding out what could they have done different. You know what I'm saying? Offering some pointers and some advice. Helping them develop those critical thinking skills so that they could make good decisions. A lot of times we just so bent up on image and what people gonna say and think as parents, but we ain't got time for that. Our focus needs to only be on our children and making sure that we give them the information that is needed. We can't worry about what other people saying or what other people doing. Focusing on your household only is the most important out of anything. Giving your child that unconditional love is vital in order for them to feel loved, safe, and secure. And you want to be that go-to parent. So that's just a little something else that I just wanted to add. If you have any questions, definitely hit me up, tia@rcstreatment.com. I'm on all social media platforms under Reinhardt Counseling. So peace and many blessings, and I wish you all well on your journey raising your kids. Thank you.